Right after Bartiromo holds up the 400 Fisa docs, Goodlatte drops a bomb no one saw coming by US4Trump.com. America's watchdog Tom Fitton and Judicial Watch came through for the American people. Furthermore, they sued for the FISA applications that were used to spy on an American citizen, Carter Page. Additionally, the FISA warrant application released to Judicial Watch were heavily redacted. Congress, however, has seen the 400-plus pages of unredacted FISA application documents. Specifically, Goodlatte, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. Goodlatte announces, I have had the opportunity to read these FISA warrant applications without all of those redactions, and I think that it is critically important that the American people have the opportunity to see most of the rest of those documents. Also, Bob was on Fox News Channel with Maria Bartiromo, and in a blockbuster of details, he gives us much information as he can without breaking the law. Moreover, the Virginia representative tells us the bottom line of what we need to know. Specifically, wait until you see the last one. The truth is coming out a little bit at a time. It's a bombshell. The one documents, let's take a look at that. Brennan, Comey, and Lynch are on the witness list and will be called into Congress for questioning. Watch Bob Goodlatte, who has seen the unredacted documents. He gives Maria Bartiromo a rundown. Let's take a listen.
House Judiciary Committee Chairman and Virginia Republican Congressman Bob Goodlatte. Mr. Chairman, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, Maria. It's good to be with you.
Well, what strikes me about all of these documents that I've been looking at all morning is all of the redactions on every page. Major black lines redacted. So tell us, what did we learn from this FISA warrant?
Well, we certainly learned that there is a serious problem with the FBI presenting to the FISA court an application for a search warrant against a United States citizen, and then followed by 3 renewals when they were basing it on a very flawed document, the so-called Steele dossier that has never been verified. Even after all of this came out, they attempted to verify it and failed. So that's number one. Number two, I have had the opportunity, as have a few other members of the House of Representatives, the opportunity to read these FISA warrant applications without all of those redactions. There are only a few redactions in the document that I reviewed, and I think it is critically important that the American people have the opportunity to see most of the rest of those documents. We want to make sure that we're protecting sources. We want to make sure that we're protecting methods that are used in investigations. But most of the information that is redacted in that report should easily be seen by the American people. They can judge for themselves, but I will tell you it does not support the issuance of a warrant against Mr. Page.
So what will be done about it?
Well, certainly this is a big development for the investigation that I, as chairman of the Judiciary Committee, Trey Gowdy, as chairman of the Oversight and Government Reform Committee, have been pursuing now for the last 9 months. Because, as you know, at each step in that process, the FBI has objected to our looking into this matter because they claim it's part of an ongoing investigation. And we have said all along, we're not interested in looking at the substance of anything that Mr. Mueller does find in his investigation. We don't want to interfere with that, but we do want to see how this investigation was launched and how it contrasts with the shocking way that they handled the Hillary Clinton email investigation. So that is an absolutely critical aspect of this, and now we have a federal judge who agrees that information regarding that investigation can and should be made public and has ordered it to be made public. Much more needs to be done in that regard, but the Congress, which has subpoena power and has issued subpoenas with regard to both documents and witnesses, is entitled to have answers to our questions, and I think that this is a major boost to that effort.
There was one redaction here about an agent. Are we an agent launching this investigation? Are we assuming that that is Peter Strzok? who's also his name redacted in this warrant?
Well, I can't comment on the redacted items in that until a court has ordered them to be made public. But I can say that based upon our other aspects of this investigation, that Peter Strzok was at the heart of both the Hillary Clinton email investigation, where the FBI bent over backwards to find every way possible to not proceed with that case. And in fact, as you know, they did decide in a very public and controversial way not to proceed in that investigation. And he was also at the heart of the beginning of this investigation into so-called Trump campaign Russia collusion.
I want to know what this tells us about the Robert Mueller probe, because you go back to Carter Page, and here's the guy who was actually wiretapped and surveilled. If Carter Page was an agent of a foreign power working for the Russians, why is he still running around free? Why are there no charges against Carter Page? And by the way, what does that say about Comey, McCabe, Yates, Rosenstein, and the others who repeatedly certified to the court that he was an agent of foreign power? Why has he not been charged then?
Well, excellent question. He was surveilled for a solid year, 3-month increments with 3 renewals, and I don't believe they found anything with regard to him. I cannot speak for him, and I can't speak for Special Counsel Mueller. And as I've said before, he has been charged with a responsibility to carry out, and if he finds evidence of collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia, he should bring it forward. This investigation is now more than 2 years old, and it is, I think, he's only been on the job for a little over a year, but this was going on for almost a year before he came on the scene. And still it is a cloud, a shadow over this administration. It is something that if they have the goods, as Chairman Gowdy has said, bring them to a grand jury. If you don't, let's let the world know that they don't have that evidence.
I want to run for you what Senator Rand Paul said on Fox News this past week, because I'm wondering if this information and all that we're gleaning from all of this, whether it's the FISA warrant or your interactions with Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, which I'm going to get to, if that is going to dictate where the Robert Mueller investigation goes. You would think that it would, since his mandate is collusion with the Russians. Here's what Senator Rand Paul said about all of this week on Fox News. Listen to this, Mr. Chairman.
The president sees the Mueller investigation. He sees all these accusations from partisan Democrats, Hillary Clinton saying, oh, he colluded with the Russians. But then he also sees that the only people who actually we know colluded with the Russians were Hillary Clinton, who paid a British agent who then paid Russians for information for this dossier. So he feels like the intelligence community cooked up a political or partisan investigation.
Would Robert Mueller interview Hillary Clinton?
Well, I can't speak for Robert Mueller, but I can very heartily agree with Senator Paul when he says that Democratic operatives related to the Clinton campaign and the Democratic National Committee paid for the creation of this so-called Steele dossier and then turned it over to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. But what's so unprecedented about this is that the FBI then took it, weaponized it without ever verifying its credibility, and brought it to the FISA court without disclosing the source of that information. That is deeply troubling, and it is a part of the reason why the new FBI director has been hard at work trying to reform this organization whose credibility has been damaged by a few key people. And by the way, those few key people are the same people in both of these investigations. James Comey, Andrew McCabe, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page,
Did he just say that Ray was going to clean up the mess? Oh, these are swamp creatures. Did he just say that?
Whose credibility has been damaged by a few key people. And by the way, and it is a part of the reason why the new FBI director has been hard at work trying to reform this organization whose...
What a joke! These people are all in cahoots. Gowdy, Goodlatte, all of them are in cahoots. But you know what the thing is? It's that the Judicial Watch got the information and now they're trying to squirm. Do you see what I'm saying? If he's talking about Christopher Wray, These people all are delusional and have problems, and they should all be, replaced. Everything has to be replaced from the ground up. It's like it's infested. It's like an infestation.
Has been damaged by a few key people, and by the way, those few key people are the same people in both of these investigations.
So what they're trying to do is pin it on the little guys and leave the bigger fish, out of the equation. Notice he's not saying that Mueller's whole investigation is a witch hunt and it was all planned, to take him down. Come on now. These people know what's going on. You can't be that dumb.
James Comey, Andrew McCabe, Peter Strzok, Lisa
they want the
Page,
little people, not the big fish.
The FBI counsel, the chief of staff to the director, the same people in both these investigations. In one instance, doing everything possible to avoid indicting Hillary Clinton, including allowing her chief aides to be in the room with her when she was interviewed by the FBI, creating a memo exonerating her before most of the witnesses, including Secretary Clinton, had been interviewed. Not putting this before a grand jury, even though they had impaneled the grand jury in that investigation. They didn't let the grand jury determine whether she should be indicted. And then changing the language in the memo from gross negligence to extreme carelessness. Gross negligence very closely tracks the statute. Extreme carelessness is not a meaningful phrase, all to avoid indicting her.
Yeah.
That is shocking.
And many of the people that you mentioned, they have signed, they're on the signage page of this FISA warrant, they all signed it, okaying it, and that includes John Brennan, Sally Yates, John Brennan, Jim Comey, Peter Strzok. So John Brennan, he is the man who deserves a belated bit of scrutiny, according to the Wall Street Journal, Kim Strassel's op-ed just this past week. We know that John Brennan has been all over town trashing President Trump and trashing the hearing that your committee actually did with Peter Strzok. What are your thoughts on John Brennan's involvement?
Well, we have lots of questions for John Brennan, and he will definitely be sought by the committees for an interview. This is an extremely disturbing thing to see both he and James Comey, supposedly impartial government officials carrying out their jobs in very important areas in intelligence gathering and law enforcement, express the kind of extreme bias that they've shown now, which I think reflects quite accurately on what they were doing back in 2016.
So he's on your list of witnesses to have in to interview them?
Absolutely.
Who else is on
Definitely.
that list?
Well, we're going to go through. We've received a list from the Intelligence Committee of literally dozens of people. We're going through that list now and determining which ones are our priority. I think I would rather leave it at that, but certainly we will also be talking to Director Comey and former Attorney General Lynch.
Let me ask you about Lisa Page. I know that you had behind closed door meetings with her, but apparently during that hearing you have discovered more information that you want. Can you tell us anything about the Lisa Page testimony and what you learned?
Well, it was a private, confidential interview, but I will say this, that Ms. Page, in contrast to Mr. Strzok, was far more forthcoming and gave us far more information regarding what was going on in 2016 and into 2017 to help our investigation. But I'll also say that she reminded us of some documents that hadn't been talked about for a while, including the fact that there are not only memos by James Comey that we're all aware of, but also memos by Andrew McCabe, the deputy director of the FBI, that are of interest to us as well, and we're seeking those now.
So now you're seeking those documents. I know that you have been focused, and certainly your colleague Devin Nunes has been focused on any information before the actual investigation was launched, which was July 31, 2016.
Well, as you can see, that Lisa Page better be careful, because they're because she gave him even information. He said it, but nobody's going after Mueller, for going with this. Like Gowdy said, now they're looking into obstruction of for Trump. Yeah, but why were they looking for obstruction? It was why Trump fired Comey. So that automatically knocks the obstruction part out, since they were all in cahoots and they were all colluding to take down a sitting president, bottom line. And maybe Goodlatte didn't say too much because he's afraid of going down, but he really outed Lisa Page by saying that she gave us more information that we weren't even looking for. So you can bet she's on Hillary's hit list, so she better get somebody to watch her, that's for sure. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.